All right, guys, we're going to rock and roll on the show here in a matter of moments. Take a look at the screen for today's headlines. What I posted this morning on the I Love CVille network has gone viral. I offered some commentary on the Charlottesville High School protest from Monday afternoon. I'll read my commentary to start the show. It legitimately has gone viral across the I Love CVille network. I want to talk about some of the comments from viewers and listeners on my commentary on the show today. We'll compare and contrast procedural protocols and procedures with the protest from Monday with just a traditional field trip. Judah's offered a reasonable voice and said, let's compare and contrast what happened on Monday with just an everyday field trip.
Yeah.
That takes the politics out of it.
Yeah, I think we're getting too much. We're getting too caught up in the fact that this was a protest, and not looking at the underlying facts. That this was, a bunch of students who left the school. I believe the school is probably liable if something were to happen to the students while they were out, and that's serious. I mean, your kids are off doing something off school grounds, and you may approve or you may not approve,
or may not even know.
Exactly. If you don't know,
a lot of parents may not have known about this.
Again, too many people are making this about the protest. If the school just decided to let your kids go somewhere during school hours, would you be okay with that if you didn't know about it? If they were walking along Charlottesville roads, which everybody knows are fairly dangerous.
Well, there's ice and snow.
I know. It's dangerous enough when there's not ice and snow.
We've gotten messages from parents that said they had no idea their kids were involved in this protest.
And that's the problem.
Let's talk about this on the show. Like and share the show. By now, if you follow us, be very straightforward. Across all platforms, there's no brand that has a more significant reach in Central Virginia, except for the University of Virginia, then I Love CVille. It goes UVA 1, then I Love CVille 2, and those are just facts, folks. That's not a brag. Those are just facts. Take a look at the screen for today's headlines. We'll get rocking and rolling in a matter of moments. You set up YouTube correctly, J-Dubs?
Yep.
Fantastic. It's not showing live on my Twitter feed.
So I know what you're saying, but if you look at your...
Yeah, you're saying the profile is showing live. But if people can't leave comments in the thread that way, and like someone like Ginny Who and some of the viewers and listeners routinely respond to the Twitter thread where the show is live.
I mean, if you click on look, watch.
I'm literally showing.
Look.
She's literally telling me.
Look,
not appears to
but look.
Okay. It sends as a message. That's a private message.
Oh, okay.
That's not on the Twitter thread.
Well,
Right.
then I'm not sure why it's going on like this, but I can restart it, but I don't think that's the issue.
Yeah, that's fine, Ginny, if you send us messages. You can also hop on and I understand you want to comment on Twitter, Ginny, and that's completely cool. We appreciate you, Ginny Who. If you'd like, you can also hop on the I Love CVille on my personal Facebook page and leave the comments in that on that thread. And she says, yes, Judah, you can click on his profile pic to listen, but you cannot comment, and that's how I like to comment.
Okay. I'm restarting it. I don't know if that'll fix it. I'll run this by switchboard.
I didn't fix it yesterday. All right. YouTube is set up the right way?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's rock and roll. Viewers and listeners, grab your popcorn, grab your iced coffee. Peter Sweeney, welcome to the broadcast. Print, radio, and television is watching the show. Print, radio, and television. You should be reporting on this, print, radio, and television. Take a deeper dive than just the surface, print, radio, and television, please. We deserve it as a community, as community members, print, radio, and television.
Yeah, there's a lot here that we're not getting in the news. Who was with the students?
Print, radio, and television has done such a piss-poor job at covering this.
Yeah, no doubt.
We are missing so much. I mean, this is another example of the I Love CVille show covering stuff that no one else is covering locally. The Stefan Freeman from Friday, the restaurant collapse, and into this week, and we're working on an interview with employees of Stefan Friedman for the I Love CVille show, folks. The UVA health system is another example. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, the I Love CVille Network. Hit the thumbs up button on YouTube. You ready to rock and roll, Judah?
Yep.
All right, let's do this.
Quiet on the set.
Good Wednesday afternoon, guys. I'm Jerry Miller, and thank you kindly for joining us on the I Love CVille show. It's a pleasure to connect with you guys through the flagship show of our network. This is the water cooler of content and conversation. I'm going to be very straightforward, and I'm basing what I'm going to say now on statistics, metrics, and facts. Across all social media platforms, I Love CVille has the most significant reach in the entire region, except for one brand. And that brand is the University of Virginia. We are in a clear-cut number 2 slot. And there continues to be examples of holes or gaps in the legacy media coverage. In the last month alone, the UVA health system debacle, white-collar racketeering, allegedly, medical chart changing to maintain national rankings and performance standards, malpractice, medical malpractice, surgeries that are dangerous that should not have been performed on kids, but the C-suite allegedly pushing doctors to perform the surgeries, profits over patients. Last week it was the Stefan Friedman saga. We're in correspondence with a number of restaurateur Stefan Friedman's staff members, including one who has indicated to us that he is significantly behind on pay and is even alleged that ownership was taking his tips. Did you read that, Judah?
Yeah, that's despicable, especially for someone who's got ownership of what was seven
storefronts and 8 businesses.
Yeah.
One of the staff members who's corresponding with us that may come on the show has passed on to us information that ownership was taking his tips and is weeks behind on compensation and paychecks. Why has that not been covered by print, radio, and television? 7 storefronts and 8 businesses that are collapsed. Now this Charlottesville high school protest has just been fumbled by print, radio, and television. You spend 15 or 30 seconds of a news broadcast showing photos of teenagers walking to downtown Charlottesville with signs. That was the story. Charlottesville high school students protest ICE, leave school, carry signs, walk down McIntyre Road to the downtown mall. Police department called. We're going to take it a step further on the broadcast today. A lot we're going to cover on the show. It's going to be a shorter show for us today as I have a 1:30 meeting that I'm going to have to get to, so we're off air at about 1:05 today. I want to talk this protest and how it clearly is dividing this community with folks on many different, I don't even think there's 2 sides of the fence here. There's one contingent of people, one group of people that are adamant the students are absolutely in the right with their First Amendment rights to protest and to leave school. I get it. I'm a huge proponent of the First Amendment. There's another group of people that is so disgusted by ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement, and what the Trump administration has done with policing our borders, that anything anti-ICE, they will champion and celebrate. Look, I'm also disgusted with a lot of what we've seen from Immigration Customs and Enforcement. It's gross. People should not be dying. The extent of violence with policing our borders is one that will mark history negatively for generations to come in the United States. What's happened in Minneapolis is disturbing. It is beyond unfortunate. There's no place for murder and violence of this magnitude. Should our borders be enforced? Yes. Should people be dying at the hands of masked men that are acting in militia capacity? No. There's another group of people that are so adamant in their support of Donald Trump that anything he does, they will support. We see that with this Charlottesville High School protest. There's another group of people that are asking questions about the safety of their kids. These are the parents that are like, hey, I didn't know what was going on here, man. Our kids are leaving school and we didn't know about this. Were they supervised? Like, why weren't we told that our kids were going to leave Charlottesville High School when we drop them off or they go to school? We expect them to stay on school grounds and be safe. Now we're hearing they're walking down snowy and icy, dangerous roads, mingling amongst strangers, unsupervised, and playing Frogger with their lives amongst traffic on their way to downtown Charlottesville. So it's not just like a line down the middle and one side of the fence and one side of the fence. There is many different, it's a Venn diagram, if you may, of groups of people. And I want to try to understand the sociology, the anthropology of this Venn diagram on the I Love CVille show today. I have a couple of programming notes for you. Police Chief Mike Kochis will join us in studio in person on Friday. Mike Kochis, the George Clooney of policing, in studio, in person, on Friday's episode of the I Love CVille show. Also, one other programming note, and goodness gracious, this is going to get some of the viewers and listeners that are, absolutely angry and infuriated with my commentary from this morning. And I'm going to read that commentary to you in about 30 seconds. But these people that and you're entitled to your opinion. I'm totally fine with the fact that you're infuriated. I want the viewers and listeners to know that are angry with my commentary and infuriated with what I wrote, which I will read to you in a matter of moments. I am so secure in my skin, my approach to life, my comfortability where I am professionally and personally with my wife, our two sons, our friends, our passions, hobbies, and interests, that my commentary, if it elicits anger from you, it really is no sweat off my back. I sincerely, humbly mean that. The group that is infuriated will be even more infuriated when they hear this. John McGuire, the congressman, will be on the I Love CVille show next week. Mm-hmm. The embattled Congressman John McGuire in person on the I Love CVille show next week. Giddy up and get ready. I'd love to give some attention to Charlottesville Sanitary Supply, 62 years in business. Charlottesville Sanitary Supply, John and Andrew Vermillion are 5 generations strong in Albemarle County. Their business is doing well on East High Street, Charlottesville Sanitary Supply. It's located online at charlottesvillesanitarysupply.com. It has a sister company, Charlottesville Swimming Pool Company, that will offer consultation and concierge services for anything swimming pool related. We use Charlottesville Swimming Pool Company for our family swimming pool at our house, and Charlottesville Sanitary Supply for anything sanitary related. They offer free in-market delivery. They have price points that the big box stores cannot beat, and the product will be on your doorstep before the big box stores. 62 years in business, A-plus people, the Vermillions. Charlottesville Sanitary Supply and Charlottesville Swimming Pool Company. All right, I'm going to read the commentary, and then I'm going to weave you in on a two-shot. We have a hard stop at 1:05. Here's what I wrote this morning on the I Love CVille network. I'm going to read it verbatim. It's gone literally viral with more than 225,000 people, unique IP addresses, seen it so far, and I published it not even 3 hours ago. Here it goes. Charlottesville high school students skipped school on Monday to protest ICE. The swarm of students marched unsupervised to downtown Charlottesville, Virginia, amongst traffic and strangers. Charlottesville high school teachers and administrators were aware of the planned truancy, and some even encouraged the unauthorized absences. congressional candidate Tom Perriello cheered the teenagers on. Allowing students to skip school to protest outside of school is a dangerous Pandora's box and an injury lawsuit waiting to happen. The First Amendment neither forgives nor permits truancy, and it certainly does not protect against injury, crime, or evil. Freedom of speech does not preclude consequences. Charlottesville High School is setting a dangerous precedent, and some teachers, administrators, and politicians are emboldening the behavior. Which teacher, administrator, or politician will accept culpability if the unthinkable happens to a student during an encouraged truancy protest? I published those 6 paragraphs on the I Love CVille network, the water cooler of content and conversation, not even 3 hours ago. And minutes before the show started, our IP counter suggested 225,000 plus unique IP addresses had read or interacted with my commentary across all platforms. That number will rise, and it will rise dramatically following this show. Studio camera, Judah Wickower. Two-shot, Judah Wickower. A trusted voice in this community, Judah Wickower. You had a novel idea of trying to destabilize the outcry. You had a novel idea, I'll try this again, of trying to decompose the outcry by comparing the protest on Monday with a field trip. Maybe a field trip to the Paramount. A field trip to the museum for Charlottesville High School students. And the idea with decomposing the protests, taking the outrage, which is anything tied to immigration, customs and enforcement, border patrol, and the Trump administration, out of the equation, and setting a baseline with a comparison and a study of a field trip to what happened on Monday afternoon. I thought it was a pretty good idea. My friend, the show is yours.
So what I saw in a lot of the comments was, there was the usual support or, opposition. Some people are gung-ho, go students. We support your right to protest. Other people are like, no, that's not right. I think what we're getting too much caught up in is the idea that this is a protest. And the fact of the matter is, this is students leaving school. Now, I don't think anyone here is saying that kids can't leave school. Most of us, I know Jerry and I both skipped school at, whether it was one time or 20 times, doesn't matter. We did it, and we survived. But what we're talking about here is not one or two kids playing hooky. What we're talking about is a large group of students leaving the school and potentially having teachers and administrators and politicians cheering them on. But someone was kind enough to send us, parental permission for transportation and field trips. That's why I bring field trips into this.
This was Carly Wagner. Carly Wagner said this in the comment section. I find Carly Wagner, I hope she is watching the show, to be reasonable, sensible, fact-based, level-headed, practical. How she goes about, I think she has 4 or 5 children. How she goes about raising her family, being the shot caller. I have no doubt she's the shot caller of her household. Raising her kids. I admire what she's doing. She sent us that.
Yeah, she's commented on the show multiple times, and I've always found her to be reasonable as well. She sent this about the Virginia government rules for how they run schools. And parental permission for transportation and field trips shall be secured before the scheduled activity. If a blanket permission is used instead of a separate written permission, the following shall apply. 1, parent shall be notified of the field trip. Sounds reasonable. And 2, parents shall be given the opportunity to withdraw their children from the field trip, which is also reasonable. However, if the teachers and the administrators are encouraging the children to go out and do this, I'm wondering, were parents notified of this field trip or given the chance to pull their kids from it because of the potential dangers of a group of kids walking along Charlottesville city streets, which all of us know to be, not the safest place in the best of conditions. And we are not in the best of conditions, despite the fact that we have a beautiful, wonderful, warm, I'm not going to call it a heat wave, but all this warm weather currently melting the ice and snow on our streets and sidewalks. So ultimately, I think we need to bring this away from the discussion about protesting, because I think most of us approve of the kids protesting.
I certainly do.
At least approve of them, having a political voice, feeling strongly about something and doing something about it. If we are going to talk about the protest, I think the only logical thing we should be talking about is, would everyone be so blasé about the kids taking to the streets to protest if this was a right-leaning argument, if they were protesting something that the left was doing? Are we only okay with this because we don't like one side's politics? And that was, I think, brought up somewhere else. I don't remember exactly where right now. But is this even? Are we being even-handed with the kids in this case? If Turning Point USA kids who have been greatly maligned on Reddit and probably other social media places,
including by Allison Spillman, the Elmore County School Board member, who called Turning Point USA, Western Almora's chapter, the Ku Klux Klan.
So, if Turning Point USA students decided as a group to protest, walk out of the school, go walking around the city, and hold up signs, would we react in the same way? And if the answer is no, then we have to take a look at our
moral compass?
Not our moral compass, because it's not about morality. It's about if something is okay for one side because they don't like what the other side is doing, but it's not okay for the other side because they don't like what it. Then you're not judging with an equal yardstick.
You're being disingenuous. You're being hypocritical.
Yeah.
Okay, all of the above. If the viewers and listeners that are watching this program, I need to caveat and characterize a couple of things before I offer more commentary. I want high school students and teenagers to protest what they are passionate about. I am all for the First Amendment and freedom of speech. Protest. My issue with this entire event is the fact that A, it happened during school hours.
Yeah.
If you want to protest on a Saturday morning, do it. Go for it. Sing Kumbaya with Kristen Zakos inside Target, like what happened last week, which was characterized well on the I Love CVille show. Kristen Zakos, you're a hell of a conductor. Hell of a maestro. Do it. But you can't do it during school hours. And you certainly can't do it on the heels of a snowpocalypse where you were out of school for nearly 2 weeks and on the heels of Christmas break. Because what is happening is you academically and socially are getting further and further behind. And certainly further and further behind of your private school peers who navigated the snowpocalypse much more efficiently than the public school, specifically returning to the classroom to learn. The private school kids are in the classroom longer learning than the public school kids. That creates generational academic gaps. Generational academic gaps breed generational wealth gaps, and it's a domino effect of nasty legacy proportions. My second issue with this, Judah, is the protests went extremely largely unsupervised. There were no teachers or administrators from Charlottesville High School walking alongside minors as they were navigating car traffic and vehicle traffic streets while playing Frogger with their life as they were hop, skip, and jumping over icebergs. Mike Conscious and the Charlottesville Police Department literally had to send patrol cars and utilize social media notification to ask Charlottesvillians and Albemarle Countyans and commuters to be extremely careful because there was large groups of people walking on unsupervised around the streets. Those were the exact language that was utilized by the police department. Exact language. Some people are saying, "Oh, Jerry, there was a couple of parents that were there to help supervise." Bullshit. A couple of parents supervising 100+ high school students? Give me a break.
Yeah.
Give me a break and step into reality. Here's further issue I have. Further issue, then you jump in. Further issues that I have with this. I have nearly 36 direct messages, text messages, and emails from Charlottesville high school parents that had no idea that this was happening. Parents literally connecting with me that's saying, "We did not know our kids were doing this. Had we have known, we would not have allowed it, or possibly would not have sent our kids to school." Parents saying when we drop our kids off to school or when they ride the bus to school or drive themselves to school, we expect them to stay at school. It's that trust or expectation of being in a safe, contained environment that is the whole premise of school. If parents think that kids can leave school unsupervised and encouraged by teachers and administrators, that trust is eroded and the whole premise of school is destroyed. This is so effing obvious. And then my last point, and then Judah, jump in. If Turning Point USA, it's a perfect example. If Turning Point USA Western Albemarle chapter had chosen to do this, left the high school in Crozet and walked to Far Downers or Crozet Pizza or the Dairy Queen by the couple hundred, carrying signs that had language that was grammatically incorrect and referencing the Latina baddies, exact words on one of the signs, the Latina baddies that we have to protect at the border. If Turning Point USA Western Albemarle students had done this by the hundreds, Charlottesville and Albemarle County would have been infuriated. And Charlottesville and Albemarle County would have said, "Danger, cars, trucks, vehicles, road, snow, ice, what are you doing? Truancy, unsupervised, unauthorized, illegal." And when we don't call a spade, or we use selective outcry, that's selective outcry, a term Judah coined, which I think is brilliant.
Selective outrage.
Selective outrage, even better. When we utilize selective outrage, or better yet, when selective outrage clouds our judgment, we are not the best versions of ourselves as parents, as partners, as citizens. And that's what we're seeing here. Judah Wickhauer with 9 minutes on the docket.
Oh, man. Well, if teachers and admins, this is why I feel like we take this out of the realm of protest and call it a field trip. If teachers and administrators approve of this, that's fine. But why not turn it into a school field trip, send notification to parents, which allows them the chance to approve or disapprove. They can say, "No, I don't want my kids going on that." They can say, "Yeah, I love that you're doing this, and my kids can go on that." But then they have a choice. It's great that 2 parents or 3 parents or even 5 parents, however many parents, went along with all of these kids making their pilgrimage through Charlottesville. But if you weren't one of those parents, how do you feel?
Bingo. And I want to ask you this question. And we are already hearing that there's future protest planned for Charlottesville High School. There's going to be future, high schoolers at Charlottesville High School. You got the support of roughly 55 or 60% of this community. Teenagers at Charlottesville High School, there's 60% of this community that support you being truant and skipping school during the day. Keep doing it. Do it tomorrow. Do it Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Do it every day, Charlottesville High School teenagers. Protest ICE, leave school. The community supports you to the tune of about 60% of them. Make your postcards and your posters. Reference the Latina baddies. Skip school. The community wants you to do it, Charlottesville High School. And the administrators and the teachers that are encouraging this, dear God, please do not allow this to happen. But if something terrible were to happen as minors were navigating roadways on foot by the hundreds and someone got hurt, I can guarantee you, Dr. Royale Gurley, I can guarantee you, Ziana Bryant, Emily Dooley, Lisa Torres, Charlottesville School Board, I can guarantee you, Shannon Gillikin, President, Charlottesville Teacher Union, I can guarantee you, principals and administrators and teachers, that a lawsuit will follow.
This was if you strip away all of the whatabouts and if we just take the basic facts, a bunch of students leaving the school and doing whatever they want, and teachers and administrators allowing it, that is gross negligence.
I guarantee you a lawsuit will follow. Gross negligence, educational malpractice. And there's this topic, and unfortunately we only have 6 minutes on the show. When we were planning on doing the show today and having a 1:30 meeting, I never anticipated my commentary literally being seen by 250,000 people in less than 3 hours and going viral. But such as creating content and adapting to new and fresh content on the fly, which is what we do on the show every day, which legacy media does not do. There's someone who I have a lot of respect for. I believe she still owns Iron Poffles and Coffee. Her name is Catherine Matthews. She has since moved from the community. I think she lives in Michigan or Wisconsin, somewhere along those lines. Catherine Matthews, if you're watching the show, I have tremendous respect for you, tremendous respect for the entrepreneurial journey, the brand you created, Iron Poffles and Coffee on Water Street. It's fantastic. She's a newly minted mother. She has a wonderful family, very intelligent husband. She's very intelligent. She's successful. Props and praise for Catherine Matthews. I hope she hears that. She leaves this comment on my Facebook page. We cannot expect, this is how it applies to teachers and administrators and principals politicizing education. I do not think that teachers, administrators, and principals should politicize education. I think it's up to my wife and I to determine what our two sons learn from a politics standpoint, a sexuality standpoint, a gender identification standpoint. And as a result, my wife and I have chosen to pay a lot of money. We're talking darn near close to 25 grand to send our second grader to a private school locally. It's a lot of money. But we do this because we love him and we see the curriculum he's in, the track he's in currently as what's best for our family and for him. I said education should not be politicized.
Yeah.
It should not be politicized. It's up to the parents to determine sexuality or help, or not determine, have the conversation. It's up to the parents to have the conversation with their offspring, their children, about sexuality, about gender identification, about politics. And it's not the teachers in the schools. She responds by saying this: we cannot expect students to leave their humanity at the door. When policies like ICE raids affect their peers and community, it isn't the school politicizing life, it's life demanding a response. Telling teachers and students to just study is asking them to ignore the world they are prepared to live in. That wasn't even the comment I wanted to get to. She's basically saying it's up to the teachers to politicize, it's up to the teachers and support staff to have the conversations with minors that are the type of conversations about politics and protesting and gender and sexuality.
I would say the point of school is to promote discussion, promote critical thinking, and not and part of that is not teaching with only one side of your political viewpoint, so that students can discuss things in school, so that they can come to their to whatever conclusions they come to, and expand their minds by actually thinking and not just parroting what the teacher says, because the teacher is only teaching one side of the story.
I want my kids challenged on reading and writing and arithmetic and history and communication and socialization and following the rules and athletics. And I want my kids challenged on the academics of life. I don't want my kids challenged by strangers, teachers, administrators, and principals that my wife and I don't really know on politics and protesting and sexuality and gender identification,
Yeah.
border patrol, and Trumpinian policy. That's up to my wife and I to have that conversation when we are ready to have that conversation with our two children. We could go deeper on this. I have a 1:30 meeting. It's quintessential, set a meeting, and then you have one of the hottest topics you can talk about. We will carry this discussion into tomorrow's show. I'm going to have conversations with parents that did not know that this protest was happening. I have phone calls lined up. I also have a phone call lined up with one of Stefan Friedman's employees that is telling us that tip money was taken from him and he's behind on a number of paychecks. You saw it as well. Mm-hmm. He just sent me a text. I'm free the rest of the day. I can chat with you whenever you're ready. Okay? There's a Pandora's box that's opening right here at Charlottesville High School. And Dr. Royale Gurley, the superintendent, the school board, and the teacher union better figure out how it's going to manage this open box. And if we live in a community where 60, 70% of the community is fine on minors skipping school and being truant and protesting, that I would encourage Charlottesville High School teenagers and students to do a protest tomorrow. And one on Friday, and one on Monday, and one on Tuesday, and one on Thursday, and one on Friday of next week. And heck, why don't we do it until summertime?
Yeah.
That's the I Love CVille show, a shortened version on a Wednesday. In the saddle tomorrow at 12:30 on a show that's going to be red hot. Judah Wickower and Jerry Miller.